things. Now here I'm going to solve I'm going to solve the sheet with you guys. I already have it solved out. You could, I guess, like revise with me. Let's start with the first one. As I've taught my little sister more about soccer, she and me spend more time kicking the ball. You see here, they spend more time. Of course, over here, they should be we spend more time. It should have been we spend more time kicking the ball. Because they're already identified over here. We have I and my little sister, they're both identified, so we could say it's we. But in the case that we didn't find we, they are still doing the verb, as I've written over here, so it must be subjective. So it cannot stay as me, because me is an objective, and let's start eliminating. She and I, this is correct. She and I have spent, and this stays with the tense have. She and me will spend more time, and her is instantly incorrect. You could instantly cancel out her. Her and me, they're both incorrect, and no change, you cancel it out. Now you have to play around. Now these two could have been correct, but the problem is that will does not stay with the tense of the whole sentence, because he's already taught his sister. So she and I spent more time. Have spent more time. Now, second one. On our travels through Germany, Raphael, Bill, and me met both weary travelers and excited explorers. You see, they've met. Overall, they've met. They're still doing the verb, so it must be I. So you can instantly cancel out A and B. Now you're met. Oh, here it talks about wearily travelers and excited explorers. This is incorrect because wearily does over here it already says weary travelers, and wearily travelers is actually an adverb because it has L and Y, so that would make it incorrect. It's supposed to be an adjective describing the travelers, and excited is also, these are both adjectives, so it cannot be an adverb over here. Us students are leading a solidarity march in order to protest the unfair treatment of migrant farm workers. Over here, us students are, it's actually we students are, because you already have the verb over here, so you can take out ourselves. I think that was possessive. No, that's reflective. And us, that's objective. And over here it says were, which is also incorrect, because that's not the tense that we were using, and you could, of course, take out this because it has us over here. It's supposed to be subjective because they're the ones leading. Now, number 4. When I saw Kate jumping on the trampoline, I asked my friends and she to be careful, for the springs were old and worn out. You see, he already asked, I is already in subjective form. Also, we have Kate over here identified, so we could say she already. By the way, if it came in them, I think them would be correct, but it would need to be like, I asked them to be careful, like the whole sentence out. So that's why B in the very bottom is incorrect, because this whole sentence is underlined. So if we put them, then I asked them, and then it's nothing. That's why it's incorrect. And also, I asked, whatever comes next needs to be objective because he asked them, therefore the verb is being done to them. Let's also see other answers. Wait. Yeah. She and my friends to be careful. It cannot be she. That's subjective, so that's instantly incorrect. My friends and her. That's objective, so that's the only one correct. Okay, let's move on. Number 5. My puppy and I go to the dog park as often as possible. And whatever else does not matter much to us. My puppy and I, they're both subjective, because you can replace my puppy with like he, it. He and I go to the park, or like a puppy or puppy in general would be it. So it cannot be I go, because then you delete the puppy, I guess. It cannot be my, because that's objective. They're the ones that are going, they're the ones that are doing the verb, therefore it needs to be a subjective pronoun. My puppy and me, that's also incorrect. The only one that could, I guess, cause some confliction, which is B, because then at least it still has some sort of subjective pronoun. Annabelle is an old acquaintance of our family. Okay. My brother and her may even get married someday. May even get married. Okay, Annabelle is already identified. This could be a she. And other than that, may even get married. They're the ones doing the verb. They're the ones that are going to get married. So it needs to be two subjective things. And it cannot be... You see how this... you see how it's going to be my brother and it cannot be he. You could of course confuse it with B. B is a very respectable answer, but it's not B because the brother was not identified before, so it causes a vague pronoun or an ambiguous pronoun, as I've explained. Her and my brother would be incorrect because her is an objective pronoun. No change is also incorrect because her is still an objective. It needs to be two subjective pronouns. Change is incorrect and B is incorrect. That leaves us with D. When Debbie answers the phone, she always responds this is her. She is already doing the action, and is over here is a linking verb identifying the subject, so it must be subjective. This is why it needs to be this is she, and she. It cannot be her because this is objective, and whatever comes after a linking verb must be subjective. That's why it's not going to be no change because of the her. And then the problem, which is D, which is also a respectable answer, is going to be that it's going to be in the wrong tense. She cannot always responding. It needs to be in the same tense, which is she always responds with, also going to be incorrect. And her over here, this is objective, it cannot be objective, so it's going to be B. Now this is another one that I myself got tricked with. To a great artist such as he. You see, such as he, in this exact sentence does not come in comparison. Another thing about this is that he over here is a vague pronoun or an ambiguous pronoun. That's why it's also confused me a little. To a great artist such as he, both oil painting and charcoal sketching come quite naturally. It needs to a great artist such as him. It cannot be his, because that's possessive. It cannot be like, because that changes the sentence itself. And such like cannot come after each other. And he, of course, in the sentence it would be an objective, because it does not come in the comparison form, so it's going to be C. It confused me a little, as you guys can see. He throws the ball accurately, she catches it consistently. Together, he and she make a remarkable. We already have our verb. So as you can see, most of the way that I'm solving this is that by extracting the verb. First thing that you want to do is extract the verb, and then you see if it's doing the verb or the verb is being done to it. So in this case, he and she make. So of course, if there was they in this sentence, it would be they. And also, if it's not clear enough, it would be subjective, so it's no change. Of course, her over here would be objective. They're subjective and subjective, but then the tense changes. When it's plural, it does not be. I have it written over here. Plural is singular verb. Singular is plural verb. So if it was, let's say, it was singular, which is she alone, it would be she makes. But in this case, there are two people, it should be a they, so they make. That's why also, this is also incorrect. D is incorrect because it has her and makes, which is tense and pronoun. The pronoun in Z is objective, it needs to be subjective. The incorrect thing about C is that he and she makes, it's a wrong tense. The wrong thing about B is he and her. Her over here is incorrect. This is objective. Now, number 10. The bear chased Xander and me while Martha's climbing skills allowed her to reach perch safely in a tree. Okay. You see over here, while talks about as enduring. So the bear chased Xander and me. The bear is already the subject over here, and we extract the verb, which is chase. Who did he chase? Xander and me, which then makes Xander and me objective, so they both stay as they are. Me is already correct in this sentence. While Martha's climbing skills. Okay, now another thing that confuses people over here is while. While here comes as in during. So while the bear chased Xander and me, she did this at the same exact time, right? Let's go over B, C, and D real quickly. B. Me to allow Martha's climbing skills to perch her. The thing that's incorrect about this is to. Martha did not need the bear to chase Xander and whoever the person is to be able to climb. She already had the skill. She didn't learn the skill from the bear chasing her. So that's why it's incorrect. D is incorrect because it says I, and the same thing with D. They're both I. Other than that, C also, pretty sure, yeah, it has a wrong tense, while it allowing, wait, the bear chasing Xander and I allowing Martha's climbing skill. Yeah, again, this talks about the same thing, where the bear chasing them caused Martha to learn how to climb, which is obviously incorrect. That's why it's going to be A. Okay. Playing the way us wildcats do, we already have wildcats do. Don't get confused by this. I'm pretty sure this is either a gerund or participle. Playing the way us wildcats do is sure to guarantee victory in a tournament. We already extracted the verb, which is do. The wildcats or us are the ones. I'm pretty sure wildcats is just a name over here. You could say this is an appositive of sorts. So playing the way we wildcats do, because over here it's still doing the verb. Anything that does the verb is subjective. Anything that the verb is being done to is objective. Let's go over the answers. We already stated that they're the ones doing the verb, so it cannot be us. So that's incorrect. And over here, this completely changes the sentence. In our own way, we wildcats. That's not what the sentence says. So it would be playing in our own way. We wildcats. That completely changes the sentence. That's not what the sentence structure is. And no change would mean that us in the beginning over here. It would mean this us is correct, which is obviously isn't, because they're the ones doing the verb, so it needs to be we, not us. Let's move on now. Also, let me just put an X over this. Concert audiences in the 1800s did not have access to recording technology and might only hear a song once in their lifetime. Why did I underline that? In their entire life. Now, for they, an encore was their only chance to hear a piece of music for a second time. This is of course object of preposition. This is for, I've already stated, I think in the previous sheet, the cheat sheet that I had. Yeah. A pronoun following a preposition is going to be objective. So in this case, for over here is going to be for them. It has to be for them. Let's also check the other answers. D is incorrect because this is subjective. A is a subjective. As I've stated, object of preposition needs to be them. For these is completely incorrect. And encore for these beyond that. Of course, over here, this is the one that's incorrect. It needs to be the objective, which is them. Though they thought, Though the thought seems humorous now, we, and then between two dashes, both my friends and I, dreamed of becoming a garbage truck driver when we were much younger. Something to note over here is, of course, we extracted the verb, but the sentence is currently asking about the tense. Something to note is also of becoming garbage truck driver. We have over here we which is a plural and subjunctive form. Plural, it needs to be drivers, and this is also talking about in the future. Dream showing that it's going to be supposed to be in the future, something that's going to still happen. Dreamed of becoming, so it needs to be something it needs to be the future tense. of becoming. That's why D is incorrect even though it has the plural, and that's why B is correct. Let's also check the other answers. To become a garbage truck driver. Of course this is incorrect because this is singular, and A is incorrect because it's also singular. Let's move on to number 14. Swimmers should check that they have goggles, a swimsuit, and a towel before boarding the team's bus. This is one of the irregular verbs that I'm pretty sure I showed you guys. Irregular pronouns, sorry. In this case, this is singular, so it has to be he or she, and of course it's has after. Because have is plural, anything that has have is supposed to be plural. It's like they have, it's not they has is singular. That's why it's going to be C. It has, it cannot be it has because of course it's either a he or a she because they're people, they're not inanimate objects. That's why this is incorrect. And A is incorrect because it's plural. It's supposed to be singular. This is incorrect because of the half part. Now, number 15. Whoever our next mayor might be, I believe that he or she absolutely must protect our citizens from any further violence. Of course, I believe over here is a correct part. It's subjective and it's the one doing the verb. Now, that he or she, this already talks about the mayor. This refers back to the mayor, which of course might be a he or she, so it is correct. The mayor is only one person. Now, let's go to the answers. They is incorrect because it's only one mayor. I believe that it cannot be correct. Other than that, of course, the sentence itself does not underline anything. I don't know the exact question. I believe that it cannot be an it because the mayor is a human. It's either a he or a she. And D, I believe that it's only one person. So of course it's going to be A. If nobody in the house is going to eat that pasta, they ought to refrigerate the leftovers so that the food stays fresh. This is also one of the irregular pronouns, someone. It cannot be they because this is plural. So A is instantly going to be incorrect, and so is B. Now, he or she ought to. Nobody, oh, of course. Nobody is the opposite of is going to be someone should. If nobody is, then someone should be. That's why it's C. It's one of the irregular pronouns. Again, I said that you should probably take a good look into them. Alone on the parare, one often begins to, of course, okay, this is something you should look out for. One often begins to feel that they have a special connection to the desolate landscape. Whatever this has to be one, no change. No, it cannot be no change because one is singular. They has to be singular too, and it has to be specifically one. So they is incorrect. It is incorrect because one is a person. It's going to be C. But then, just in case, we over here is incorrect because this is plural. Many people already, you should circle. Many people after touring the medieval fair become an apprentice to blacksmiths or jewelry makers. Oh, by the way, over here, many people after, since after over here, it should be became, but I guess that was not the question. I thought the question was about that. But then, many people over here is a plural verb, plural pronoun, sorry. So it has to be become apprentices. It has to be something plural. And as you can see, none of them actually have that. So that's why no change is incorrect, because this is singular. Be an apprentice, that's also incorrect. But here it's talking about be. It should be became an apprentice because it's after. Choose to be an apprentice, which is, again, this is also one of the irregular pronouns. Have a look at them again. One of my classmates, this has to be already singular, thinks that their parents, their over here is possessive, their parents are the most productive and generous members of society who ever lived. It has to be his or her parents. His or her parents. It could be hers, I think, yeah. It could be hers. Their parents needs to mean to be that this had to be they, which is not correct. Their parents also incorrect. It's not a they. And one's parents needs for it to actually be one. But this is one of my classmates, so it needs to be a his or her. That's why B is correct. What any particular antique violin is worth is determined by its age and maker. What any, this is singular. Any over here is one of the irregular, so it needs to be singular. Antique violin is worth. The worth is also a singular noun, you say. So it cannot be is worth R, because the worth over here is a singular. And it cannot be R because the antique violin, or like any in general, is a singular noun or pronoun, singular irregular pronoun. So it cannot be R, and the worth is a singular noun, so it cannot be R after either. So it has to be A, because it is singular and is singular again. Again, this is incorrect because of the R in the beginning. This is incorrect because of the R in the end, and this is incorrect because it has two R's. When it's supposed to be singular, because it's just one worth. It's not like a lot of words. And of course, we're talking about one violin. All of the watches in our collection. You could cross out the modifier, of course. Anything between two commas is a modifier. You could cross it out for clarification in these type of sentences. All of the watches in our collection is highly valued by connoisseurs of horology. In our collection, this also has to be plural, which is R, so we're going to search for something that states that. Of course, is over here is instantly incorrect, that's why no change is incorrect. That's the first thing we're crossing out. Now number B would be also incorrect, because then you'd have a subject and then another subject of the watches. It is highly valued. It treats it as a new sentence, which is incorrect. It's supposed to continue off since the modifier is crossed out. Two subjects. D is incorrect because centuries being highly. This is not a cause and effect, because then let's read it out fully with number D, with letter D. All of the watches in our collection being highly valued by connoisseurs of horology. They'd need another sentence over here. Because they're highly valued, something happens. That's why it cannot be D. 22. Someone is at the door. This is singular, but I am unaware of what purpose they might be visiting us for at this late hour. We've identified that someone is a singular. This is also one of the irregulars. So they is instantly incorrect because they is a plural. So B is also incorrect because they. Then C is also incorrect because of they. So of course that leaves us with D, which is he or she. Two singulars. Each runner will have a lane on the track. Each runner, each over here is a singular. You could cross out the modifier in the middle. On the track to themselves, which is a plural, in order to minimize accidents. Of course, this is going to be incorrect because them is a plural, each is a singular, so no change is incorrect. Oneself is incorrect because it's not one, this is each. Him or her is objective, cannot be that because this goes back. This is going to be a track for them, so it's going to be possessive, so it cannot be that. It has to be himself or herself because this track belongs to them. Each one will have their own track. So I said it should be himself or herself. Number 24. The book was probably only read in full by the author and I. This is incorrect because the book was probably only read. That means the book. Oh yeah, sorry, I zoned out. The book was only read in full by. By here is object of preposition. Object of preposition needs to be the author and me. So I is instantly incorrect. I'm sorry, that took me a while. I had to reread that. Excuse me if I do sound tired. I think it's like 2 AM or something. by its author and I is incorrect. I over here is also incorrect. That leaves us with the two objective ones, which was, it was A, by the author and me. Now 25. The manager clearly struggling to rationalize. Okay, this is a modifier, we could cross all of this out. So now we start off with the manager offered, which is subject verb. The verb is being done to Will and I, a half-hearted explanation for why we had to work late on Friday. The manager offered, so he's already offering. This makes it, this is subjective. We could replace the manager with he, she, or whatever. So this means that Will and I have to be objective, which is going to be A, which is Will and me, the objective forms. Let's go over the other letters. Will and I, incorrect. Will and I again, incorrect, incorrect. Now let's go on to, pretty sure these are going to be the start of our modifiers. Making plenty of mistakes. The project was taken away from the young associate. Who was making the mistakes? Over here, of course, the project was not the one making the mistakes. So it's going to be A, because the project was taken away from the young associate because he was making plenty of mistakes. Making plenty of mistakes, the project is not making mistakes. B is incorrect. Making plenty of mistakes, so the project, again, the project is not making mistakes. Incorrect. Making plenty of mistakes. The project. Now, number 27. Waiting for the crucial trial to begin, the anxiety Neil felt was almost overwhelming. The anxiety is not the one waiting, so this is instantly incorrect. So, of course, the part that's underlined is the anxiety Neil felt was almost overwhelming. So we're going to restructure it. The one who is feeling the anxiety, or the one who's waiting for the crucial trial to begin, is Neil, because the anxiety is not the one waiting. So anything that's starting with an anxiety is instantly incorrect. 28. Passing by the waterfront, the ducks and geese floated around as spectators strolled. This is misplaced. Who was passing by the forefront? The spectators were passing by the forefront, so that means the ducks. Anything that starts with ducks is incorrect. And over here, the letter D, spectators strolled, but the ducks and geese floated around. This here shows, what was it, contrast. There is no need for contrast over here. They both happened at the same time, so the spectators strolled as the ducks floated around. They were both happening at the same time. Which of the following sentences has a dangling modifier? By having a friend carefully review your essay, you will keep grammatical errors to a minimum. By having a friend carefully review your essay, grammatical errors will be kept to a minimum. When you have a friend carefully review your essay, grammatical errors will be kept to a minimum. Having a friend carefully review your essay will keep grammatical errors to a minimum. It's B. Because by having a friend carefully review your essay, the grammatical errors will be kept to a minimum. I think this one is incorrect because you have when over here it has established also you as a subject already. You already have a clear subject over here. We're searching for what has a dangling modifier. And of course this one, having a friend carefully review your essay will keep grammatical errors to a minimum. Your essay will keep grammatical errors. We're searching for something that does not have a who, does not have a person, which is B. You don't understand anything about B. By having a friend carefully review your essay, grammatical errors will be kept to a minimum. There is no doer. There is no doer at all. What? Yeah. Who is getting this friend? When Barbara came home from the mall, she gave a bag to her little sister that was filled with books. This over here talks about how her little sister was filled with books. This is of course incorrect. Her little sister was not filled with books. Remember guys, the modifier has to come after what it's modifying. Let's go on to the other answers. When Barbara came home from the mall, the mall was not filled with books. This comes after the mall. This is incorrect. Barbara gave the bag to her little sister that was filled with books. Her little sister was not filled with books. This is incorrect. When Barbara came home from the mall, she gave a bag that was filled with books, yes, to her little sister. So this is correct, because the modifier comes after what it's actually modifying. Now, number 32, oh no, number 31, sorry. Choose the best way to correct the following sentence. While on vacation last December, Kyle encountered a coyote skiing on the mountains. Of course, over here it means that the coyote was skiing. This is incorrect. Kyle was the one skiing. Let's go over some answers. While on vacation last December, Kyle encountered a coyote skiing on a sled. This is incorrect. The coyote was not skiing. While Kyle was skiing in the mountains on vacation last December, he encountered a coyote. This is correct. It's going to be B. The sentence, no, it is not correct, and it's not none of the above. Number 32. Oh, of course, this one confused me a little. Something that you also want to note while solving the exam is that you really want to read carefully, specifically these modifier sentences, because the modifiers can come at the very last, and you really don't know which or where it will appear. Even if you find one, or if you find a modifier in one sentence, know that the sentence can have 3 modifiers, so any of them could be incorrect. So of course then it would eliminate the answer. Which of the following sentence demonstrates a correct placement of use of modifiers? Well, there are other aquatic plants to choose from. You see, this is where it confused me. This modifier is an introductory modifier, which is actually correct. And then it talks about lilies became quite popular due to the great variety of attractive flowers whose bulbs could be stored. See, this is the actual incorrect part. Even though this one was correct, even though the first modifier was correct, the second modifier was incorrect, because then it says the attractive flowers whose bulbs could be stored. This one is actually talking about the lilies whose bulbs could be stored. Now, in the 19th century, the hobby of growing lilies spread to Europe and the United States. This one is the correct answer. It is B, because it talks about how in the 19th century the hobby of growing lilies spread. Yeah. Ornament, C is incorrect, because ornament water gardening began in the late 19th century using water lilies. This is incorrect, because here it says the 18th century started using water lilies. Of course, water gardening began using, this should have been shifted in the beginning, and then ornament water gardening began using water lilies without the 19th century. It should have been shifted. None of the above is incorrect, because B is correct. The following sentences demonstrates correct placement of use of modifiers. Also, lilies require much less maintenance than many terrestrial flowering plants, needing only to be fertilized. Oh, of course, this is misplaced. It should have been after lilies, because lilies are the ones needing only to be fertilized. This is a misplaced modifier. So A is incorrect. B. Those that can tolerate winter can survive year-round and are called hardy for this reason in temperate regions. This is also misplaced. It should have been on top of here. It should have been in temperate regions. Those who can tolerate winter can survive a year-round. Now it's C, because water lilies fall into 2 distinct groups, and then it uses a colon over here, and then talks about those that can tolerate winter and those that do not. This is incorrect, because C is there already. This is incorrect because this is misplaced. It should have been up here. 34. Being the oldest team member, we chose Joe to be our captain. Being the oldest team member, we chose Joe as the oldest team member. We chose Joe again. Being the oldest, this here is a misplaced modifier. Joe is the one that's the oldest team member. This modifies we, of course, which cannot be real because like the oldest team member, this is supposed to be a singular and we is a plural, so it must have been, so this is a misplaced modifier. Joe should be pushed back over here, and it should be also since, because this is cause and effect. Since Joe was the oldest team member, we chose him. This is incorrect because of we. This is incorrect because of we. Joe should be, the modifier should be placed after or before what it's modifying, which is in this case is Joe. Because of what? Because of being the oldest team member, we chose, okay, again, we. This is also regular phrasing. 35. Although Bowler composed many advertising jingles, he never considered them to be worthy of his musical talent. Where is the underlined part? I think it's supposed to, he never considered them. Of course, he over here is subjective because he's the one who never considered them. I think them over here refers to the advertising jingles. Them refers to the advertising jingles, and he refers to Bowler. So he's the one doing the verb over here, he's the one that's not considering them. So it has to be subjective. Over here it's just going to be missing a doer in general. It's going to be missing a subject. It's an incomplete sentence. This is also missing a subject. And this is the wrong pronoun. It should be he, because Bowler is one person. Now the reading section. The lines 4 to 6, Kingsolver establishes a tone of wonder by using figurative language to compare the desert after rains to text. Our mountains wore, this is already personification that you should be aware of, mantles of yellow brilbush on their rocky shoulders as fully transformed as eastern fronts in their color. You see as over here, in their colorful autumn foliage. So it's actually comparing it. You see, compare and it's fully transformed as. This is comparative language. So you'd instantly say as the autumn and seeding pack promise. You could already see it from autumn over here. So it would be B. What does the author mean by the figurative phrase, our mantles wore mantles of yellow brilbush on their rocky shoulders? The mountains were covered, this is personification, they were covered with a layer of yellow brilbush. And the lines, the friend from the east, who planted them, how does the author? The initial response of God planted them function as figurative language. One of his political scientific explanation, it is not a scientific explanation. The confused speaker wonder, miraculous, it is B. Proof that the speaker is not scientifically trained. They are scientifically trained, they do use scientific language too. It's just this one is just because it's because it's speaker's frustration. This does not show frustration, it shows that they're still wondering about it. They just don't have a clear explanation yet. The connotative phrase